All right, welcome back for part two of the continuation of the storm chasing reviews because I got some catching up to do for the for the last chases I've done. I just covered April 26th or 25th today, and I'm continuing with April 26th and 27th. 26th was a bust. 27th was a bust, unfortunately. 26 started as a 10% hatch tornado risk in Iowa, Nebraska, and far northwestern Missouri, and that verified. Omaha area received numerous strong tornadoes. I think they were primarily all rated EF3. What was interesting about, because of work and everything, I chose southern Kansas, northeastern Oklahoma, and the thing about that day is that there was storms initially in eastern Oklahoma, and because of that, later is what caused caused Emily and I to miss tornadoes. It was mostly due to my fault. I will take blame on that for decisions that were made. Um, we went to work, then we left around like 1 o'clock, 12:30, something around that time. And at that time on satellite, you could see that the dry line, because at this point, the dry line has pushed past the OKC metro area and kind of like if you start from Chandler north, the dry line started getting agitated and you could see Q developing. And I was expecting initiation a little later than when it happened, which was between 1 to 2 o'clock, if I can remember correctly. And it started with on the northern side of the border, so southern Kansas, storms convected. At this point, we are just southwest of Tulsa, like I think near Bristow. And my initial target was Bartlesville. And as I stated before, convection was going up in southern Kansas. And even though there were storms in eastern Oklahoma in the morning hours, the environment in eastern Oklahoma was rapidly destabilizing, which was noted in the SPC 3:30 p.m. update. I think it was. It was either 11:30 or 3:30 when they added a very narrow corridor of a 10% hatch tornado stretching from northern Oklahoma down into Texas. And at this point in time, we get to Bartlesville and we can physically see these storms that are ongoing in Kansas. Not far, probably I would have to assume 40 minutes away, maybe 40 minutes to an hour, I would say. And they look good. Like, you can see at the updrafts, the anvil, these are strong supercells and they look good. And Emily made the comment, like, do you want to go after these? And now thinking about it, I should have. I had the mindset that if Kansas can do it, so can Oklahoma. The significant difference, and this is I'm putting the end part into here now. The significant difference between what happened in southern Kansas and eastern Oklahoma is that most of Kansas that day was untouched from any precip, if I can remember correctly. So the atmosphere was primed already. Oklahoma was still destabilizing. So I said no. I said if Kansas can do it, so can Oklahoma. And I literally ate my own words. So we decided not to go. Storm developed near Tulsa, the southwest side of Tulsa. I'm going to add video clips and whatnot to try to picture it. And in the beginning, we had like 3 different storms at once clustered together fighting for dominance. And it took a while. And at that point, you can tell it's like, okay, we have storms that can't figure out what's going to happen or what to do. And we just follow it. We go from, what is it, Collinsville, and just follow it north. And unfortunately, now at this time that I'm speaking, there's tornado warnings in Kansas with confirmed or southern Kansas with confirmed tornadoes. I saw pictures; they were nice tornadoes up in Omaha areas experiencing a localized tornado outbreak. And then you have the one storm. Oh, and Texas is also producing tornadoes. The one storm in Oklahoma developed into a supercell. It cycled many times, tried to develop a wall cloud, which I have videos that like I said, I'm gonna have running as I'm talking. But even though the atmosphere was recovering, it was not able to recover enough to destabilize completely, which was evident the farther northeast the storm went. And when we got near Veneta, the storm just completely died. Like it just, I don't even know how more to explain it. It just died. So that's how that went. And was it a bust? Yeah. For what happened that day in other areas? Yeah. Was it my fault? Yes. I totally take the blame for that day because I'm the one that made the decision about staying in Oklahoma, having the thought of, if Kansas can do it, so can Oklahoma. And what can I learn from that? I should have taken into account that the atmosphere in Kansas was more untouched from the morning precip that socked eastern Oklahoma. I should have taken that to account for how the storms would progress through their lifespan the more east they got. Since the Kansas storm was moving northeast, it just kept staying an untouched atmosphere that was able to destabilize over time through the time of day, comparative to Oklahoma, where even though your dew points were much more richer, the moisture depth was probably shallower, and the atmosphere was still turned over or overworked from the morning's precip, and was unable to recover in time, even though it was rapidly recovering. It just wasn't enough. So I'm going to move on to the 27th now. So starting that morning on the 27th, Emily and I got our stuff together because that day was predicted to have strong tornadoes, numerous supercells. It was expected to be a high-end event day. And it turned out to be. That was the day that Sulphur, Oklahoma got hit. Marietta, Oklahoma, Ardmore, Oklahoma got hit by tornadoes. They rated the Marietta, Oklahoma tornado EF4, Sulphur EF3, and I think Ardmore EF3. Numerous tornado warnings that day, numerous supercells, but back to the morning. So we anticipated a high-end event day. Got up in the morning and stuff was, it was cloudy outside, kind of foggy. So it kind of reminded me of a potential high-end day. So we got ready. We left around 10:30, 11. I wanted to get out there early because it was kind of expected to be an early initiation day. I got out to Carnegie, Oklahoma, when there was convection already ongoing in western Oklahoma, which we called them initially the bait storms. So typically you'll sometimes have like early storms that you will get baited to that make you go out of your target, and later on a second round of storms develop, and those are like, that's the main show. But you're on these storms, and now you got to cut across to get back to the new storms that develop, because that's the show. Well, these storms actually went off and produced tornadoes in southern Kansas. So technically they weren't bait storms, since they did go off and end up producing tornadoes, actually a few tornadoes in southern Kansas. So we started in Carnegie. There was a supercell that developed in the southeastern portion of the Texas Panhandle. And with the conditions at the time, And also, they did issue a PDS tornado watch, which is a particularly dangerous situation. It's a high-end PDS watch. It's for high-end events, whether expecting like an outbreak or strong tornadoes or a combination of both. The supercell was in the southeastern portion of the Texas Panhandle and rode basically the dry line as it progressed east-northeast, came into Oklahoma, and at this time we are in Snyder. We met up with my good friend Alex Bartholomew, and we just followed each other northeast as this supercell started to get its act together rather quickly. You could see a wall cloud starting to develop, and we hook sliced it, went right under the rotation. You visibly could see it because we were trying to get ahead of this supercell in case down the line it wanted to produce a tornado, because beforehand it was struggling. So our plan was to get ahead, because that's what we've been doing, staying ahead of it. And in case it wanted to do something, we could fall back onto it as it's progressing northeast. Well, once we got to, I forget what highway it is. It connects to just south of Hinton, Oklahoma. It was like we hit DFW morning traffic. It was stop, go, stop, go, stop, go from Chaser Convergence. And Chaser Convergence, especially on a weekend of a high-end event that's predicted to happen, it's gonna happen. There's gonna be a lot of people out there, and it's just, especially on a 2-lane highway, it's just gonna be a mess. And that's exactly what it was. So the supercell ran off. We lost it. Produced a tornado on the northeast or north side of Hinton. And Emily's a great driver. I love that she drives because she is a way better driver than I am. I asked her to take this off this back road, which I kind of regretted immediately because I don't do good with angles in a car. And we were going down like, I'm not even joking, like 30% grades, 25% grades, like straight down. I'm like hanging on to the car for dear life because I don't like angles. We eventually get back because it connected to a highway that connected to 40. So we went around, got to 40. We were originally going to take the exit to go to Calumet, but we realized that the storm was speeding off. And we were just going to bypass all the Chaser Convergence, go to El Reno, go north on 81 to Arcarchi and try to get it there. But once we got off Business 40, we realized that we weren't going to make it to Arcarchi in time, and we collectively agreed to go to I-35 and go up to like Ponca City. And doing that, actually, we did catch up back to the storm. And at that time we got there, the storm did turn elevated, and it went off. We didn't pursue it because going into like the Osage Reservation area, there's like no roads. So we just let it go. And we got some cool photos and whatnot, some video, some structure, etc., etc. No tornadoes off it. And we thought the chase was done. So we were just sitting there because the storm developed like right behind it, which was weird. And I thought it was going to be elevated. I thought it was 100% going to be elevated. But it got its act together so rapidly that I was caught off guard from it. Because we went from a storm to a supercell with a very low wall cloud. And I have a dash cam video that I'm probably going to play at this, showing how low that storm is. And I was just like, what is happening? Because it is following like directly behind the storm we just left. And it went the same route into the Osage Reservation. At this time, it was like sunset. So I think it was 8:14, 8:10, 8:14, because that's when the sun set that day. And we let it go because chasing there, no roads, no nothing. You can't. It was rain wrapped. If there was going to be a tornado, you can't see it. So I met up with my good friends Ben and Steven, and we had Chili's. And while we were at Chili's, now we've called the chase at this point. While we were at Chili's, there was a tornado warning back home here. And there was 2 tornadoes probably simultaneously on the ground in Dibble and around Cole. And we thought that was going to be it because everything started lining out and what was predicted to happen. And that's not what happened at all. Tornado outbreak happened. That's for sure. Holdenville got hit. Ardmore got hit. Marietta got hit. Sulphur got hit. And Ardmore was just ran over by supercell after supercell after supercell. I was taken off guard from that. I wasn't expecting that to happen because I think what might have happened is that the main ejection from the trough, correct me if I'm wrong, lagged behind slower than predicted. So I think that energy moved in hours later than predicted. And when it did, because all this happened at 10 o'clock at night. And when it hit, it hit. There was 22 tornadoes reported that night. And we were on the backside when we got closer to OKC metro area. We were on the backside at that point, and the lightning was just phenomenal. It was crazy. And you couldn't see. I mean, maybe you could see. Well, you could see the Ardmore tornadoes and whatnot, but the Dibble, Cole, and maybe Holdenville too, a lot of it was wrapped in rain. The Holdenville storm was a long track supercell, started down at the border and just moved northerly and just gained strength as it did. But that whole night was something crazy. It was not something I predicted that would happen, at all. So the next morning, Emily and I went to document what happened. And it was pretty surreal seeing what happened in Sulphur. Because I love Sulphur. They have the Chickasaw National Recreation Area, and I've hiked there many times. And the downtown Sulphur is beautiful, and the park is beautiful. So going into the park and just seeing it ravaged, just trees down everywhere. The pedestrian bridge that's been there, God knows how long, was completely destroyed. Downtown was a lot of buildings downtown were completely crumbled. It was pretty sad to see. But that's what happened on the 27th. That's I know this part is running long, but that's all I really got for the 27th. Did it bust? No. I physically busted, but the day itself did not. What could I have done to improve anything? Honestly, there's really nothing I did wrong that day in terms of chasing, or we did wrong. It was just unfortunate circumstances, primarily relating to the chaser convergence and whatever the atmosphere was doing, that the day was not as conducive for tornadoes as extremely late at night was. Because if it was around 7 o'clock, 6, 7 o'clock, I'd understand, because that's usually considered the magic hour. But as I stated, this was happening at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. It was late. So that's all I really have for the 27th. The next day I have is for the 1st. And I may do that tomorrow. I know we got some chase days coming up, but I'm not chasing Monday. Emily and I have plans. But we'll just see what happens. Thank you for sticking it out on this long one. I appreciate you guys, and continue to follow. And I'm just appreciative of everything. We are appreciative of everything, not just me. So thank you guys.